Okay, hi everybody. Today we're here in Logan Square at the Chicago Votes event with Alderman Scott Waguespack of the 32nd Ward.
Yep.
And Alderman, what brings you out today to this event?
Well, I got involved a little bit with Chicago Votes when I had a lot of progressive thinking members of the ward coming out and saying, hey, would you support this organization? It's nonpartisan. It's just designed to get people out and vote and get them involved. So I said, you bet. That's not an issue for me.
Okay, very good. What are the effects of something like this, not just for your ward, but for the city? Or
Well, I think, we heard a little bit from one of the speakers that went after me who talked a little bit about some of the issues that are happening in some of the other communities throughout the city. And when you see a little bit higher level of involvement in some wards, maybe on the north side, where people are active in different organizations, whether it's their school, organizations like Chicago Votes, we need to expand that to different parts of the city to give people a voice who are going through some problems right now and over the last few years that probably haven't had that voice. So when you're talking about violence in communities, the education system really taking a big hit, and the teacher strike, and seeing the effects of some of those issues, we really need to get people involved throughout the city.
Great. Let's shift gears a little bit, and we've just settled in a very important strike here in Chicago. What are your thoughts about the teacher strike?
Well, unlike a lot of my fellow aldermen, I supported the teachers from day one. When you look at all that's happened in the country with the mortgage crisis, and the way that we treated banks and the way that we treated people in that industry, which was pretty fairly, and then to have everybody turn around and attack the teachers the way they did, I was a little disappointed. A small group of us stepped up and said, we support what the teachers are trying to do here, because it's not just about their salaries, it's about this epidemic that we're seeing throughout our school system here of school closings without serious support put in by CPS, without the resources that the kids need for everything from air conditioning. And it's my ward, it's every ward in the city where school children are suffering because they are in buildings that CPS has not invested in, and then the teachers just trying to do better by all of these kids, and they work pretty hard, and I think we need to support them.
Okay. In terms of the finances of the Chicago School Board, you've been one of the leaders, I guess, in re-evolving or redeveloping the TIF tax increment financing system.
Right.
How does that fit into the teachers' educational issue?
Well, it's pretty big for us. I mean, if you look at the amount over the last few decades of what TIF money has been set aside for schools, we looked at it about a year ago through Ben Jarofsky at the Reader. We've had lengthy conversations about this, where we've seen a little over $800 million roughly set aside for schools, when their actual amount being taken out of TIFs, those TIF zones, out of the school levy is closer to $1.2 or $1.3 billion. So there's a big gap there between what CPS should be getting and what they have been getting over the last few decades. Now, I know the mayor declared a small surplus last year, but we're trying to reform TIF so that we can pull more of that money back into CPS and really get it back where it belongs.
Okay, very good. And of course, you're known as one of the leaders of something called the Progressive Bloc in the Chicago City Council. What's the status of that, and what should we look forward to in it?
Well, we ebb and flow, I think, as some discussions go in City Council, but we have a pretty core group of about half a dozen. We'll get 5 or 6 other ones, depending on what the issue is. We've had things like the T5 deal out at the airport, the Infrastructure Trust, where it kind of ebbed and flowed depending on what information was available. But we have a pretty solid core group of people who are pushing these issues, whether it's the elected school board that we tried to get on the ballot and were thwarted by the mayor, whether it's TIF reform. We're looking at the budgets and really trying to get people involved to help us look through these multi-billion-dollar budgets. So having 6 people is, it's tough to get these things done, but we put a lot of effort into it, so we're hoping that we can help make change in the city.
Okay, very good. I think you are making a difference in the City Council. Thank you very much, Alderman.
You're welcome.